Good evening, hockey fans from around the Nicola Valley. Welcome to the show where you can stay up to date on everything Merritt Centennials Talking Sense. I'm your host and play-by-play broadcaster for the Sense, Jared Thomas. Talking Sense brought to you by DCS Auto, the automotive shop that can talk your vehicle's language. Bring your car into Sean and Heidi on Lauder Street behind Cal Tire or call 378-2929. Halfway through the month of January, and the Sense are currently on an interior division stretch that continued last week with games against the Penticton V's, the Vernon Vipers, and the Trail Smoke Eaters, all in the upper echelon of the interior division. First up was a game in Penticton where the Sents were looking for their first win against their arch rivals this season. It started off with promise.
Turned over by Schneider. His shot inside. Copperwood picks up the loose puck in the slot, and he puts it over the blocker of Adam Shield. We got our first goal of the game, and it's Matt Copperwood getting it done.
That would be the lone goal of the first period, but in the second, the V's looking to get back in the game.
It's the line for Johnson. His shot in. It's loose in the slot. Rizzo finds it, and the V's tie things up.
The Sents would get themselves back into the game with a bit of an odd one coming from Joey Berkopek.
From his backside, Joey Berkopek from the wall! Throws the shot on, you never know what's going to happen, and it beat Adam Shield. The Sents regain the lead. It's 2-1 from number 21, Joey Berkopek.
A few minutes later, the Sents would go to the power play, and Matthew Gosselin was looking to carry on his hot play from the weekend beforehand, where he had 2 power play goals against Salmon Arm, and he continued the streak in Penticton.
One back to Mike Vanian at the right point. He'll walk the line to the center of the ice. Over on the left side for Matthew Gosselin. Half clapper, he'll put it in! Oh, what a shot from the Goose! Beats Adam Shield high glove side, and the Goose is on the loose.
Becoming the power play specialist is Matthew Gosselin. What a shot from him. Had the offensive skills on display, but unfortunately for the Sents, later on in the period, the V's started to mount the comeback.
It's Clack across the line, wrist shot, and he'll score. Marcus Mitchell of the Penticton V's.
So the V's back within 1, and late in the period, they were able to get the equalizer.
Taylor Ward with moves in tight. He gets it thrown back to the line, and off of Jackson Monroe. Taylor Ward finds the loose puck. The V's tie things right up.
That goal coming just a minute after the goal by Marcus Mitchell, so the V's head into the third period with things tied at 3s. Sents with an opportunity to get their first win against the V's, but in the third, it was the captain of the V's who'd get on the board.
Bristow can't get it out. Down low, in all alone, backhand move, and the V's score. The captain, Owen Sillinger, found below the hash mark with all the time in the world after a turnover at the line.
That would be the dagger in the heart of the Sents. All through the third period, they couldn't get the equalizer to tie things up, force overtime. So the Sents, still searching for their first win against the V's this season, they'll get an opportunity to do that this Friday night once again. But it set up a matchup on last week's Friday night against the Vernon Vipers, who were playing with heavy hearts after the passing of their longtime owner, Duncan Ray. We'll get into that in segment 2 of Talking Sense here on Q101, brought to you by DCS Auto. Welcome back to Talking Sense, the show where you can stay up to date with everything Merritt Centennials. I'm your host and play-by-play broadcaster for the Sense, Jared Thomas. Talking Sense brought to you by DCS Auto. Take your car in to Sean and Heidi on Lauder Street behind Cal Tire or call 378-2929. In segment 1, we talked about the V's defeating the Sents for the 4th time this season. Sents still looking for their first win of this season. And I guess I should mention that the trade deadline came and passed on that Wednesday night against the Penticton V's. And the Sents, their lone pickup at the deadline, acquiring their leading goal scorer from last season, Zach Risto. He had his first game in Penticton, was held off the score sheet, but he was not held off the score sheet in the Friday matchup against the Vernon Vipers. Of course, with heavy hearts because of the passing of their longtime owner, Duncan Ray. There was a moment of silence before the game, but when the puck did drop, the Sents showing no mercy.
The net Trot tries to play it for Jandrick, gets to the line. Colton Gerlib will keep it alive. Once again, he'll keep it alive. Court in for Wicks, the shot just up and over the top corner, glove side. And now Trot will try once again to get it out of the zone. Lansdale, once again, it's held by Gerlib. The shot gets through! Colton Gerlib from the right point throws one on net. It deflects off of Viper, but he gets it to go. What a shot from Gerlib. The Sents lead 1-0. 1:10 into the first.
Just 4 minutes later, the Sents kept it rolling, and once again, it was the Goose getting it done.
Mike Young has some time in his own zone behind the net. Turnover, they'll score! Matthew the Goose! He's on the loose again! He's got the hot hand and he's got another goal! The Sents lead 2-0!
Those would be the lone goals of the first period. The second one would be a bit of a wacky one, as the Sents only managed 2 shots, but the story of the period was a 4-on-2 rush in which Mike Van Unen drove wide, got behind the net, centered it to Zach Court. He drove hard into Anthony Yamnitsky. There was a bit of some pushing and shoving afterwards, and coming off the bench was one of the biggest defenders for the Vernon Vipers, 6'5", 220-pound Shane Kelly, started throwing punches at Zach Court. He got thrown out of the game. 6-game misconduct as well, being handed down after by the league. But in the third period, the Sents picked up, much like they left off in the first.
And the Sents, turnover inside Coca, the shot, he'll score! Nick Wicks with the feed from the corner. Coca gives Yamnitsky the old 1-2 and puts it up and over the sprawled out netminder.
Later in the period, the Sents looking to get some work done on the power play.
As Sabin from the slot, he'll rip one top corner! They take it back. That one's a no-doubter. Christian Sabin from the left circle rips one high glove side.
Zach Risto getting his first assist of the season on that goal, and he was a big part of the next goal coming late in the third.
He'll flip it to center, cross ice for Zach Risto. Pokes it past Cam Trot. Risto with speed. Centers for Clegg on this shot and they'll score! What speed on the outside! The newest Centennial with a primary assist to the leading goal scorer, Henry lighting the foghorn Cleghorn.
That would be the final, 5-0. So the Sents get their first win over the Vernon Vipers in their 5th attempt, and it set up a matchup on Saturday against the Trail Smoke Eaters. We'll hear that game next on Talking Sents, brought to you by DCS Auto on Q101. Welcome back to the show where you can stay up to date on everything Merritt Centennials Talking Sents. I'm Jared Thomas, your host and play-by-play broadcaster. Talking Sents brought to you by DCS Auto, the automotive shop that can talk your vehicle's language. Give them a call, 378-2929. Saturday night's matchup featured the Sents against the Trail Smoke Eaters. And the Sents have had good luck in Trail so far this season, winning both games they've been down to Trail. But in this third matchup, it would prove the hardest because the Smoke Eaters would have Cale Howarth, Ross Armour, Levi Glazman, their top guns, back in the lineup and back from the World Junior A Challenge. Could the Sents do it? Well, early on, Matt Copperroot had some answers.
Fraser Dodd wins the puck forward to the net. Copperroot scores! Fraser Dodd with another point on the board. The AP call-up sets up Copperroot in front, and Copperroot goes blocker side on Marshall. It's 1-0.
that would be the snowball that started the avalanche of goals in the first. The Smoke Eaters answer just a minute later.
He's got a man with him, and Jones scores over the blocker.
Smoke Eaters striking where they're most dangerous on the rush, but the Saints looking to prove that they're no slouches on the rush either.
Fraser Dodd will backhand to the head. Nice bank pass to Copperwood. Inside out, Copperwood, the shot out, score! What an effort from Matt Copperwood! Digs through 3 Smoke Eaters and then puts it up and over the glove side of Tanner Marshall.
That would give the Saints the 2-1 lead, but late in the period, the power line, Glazeman, Armour, and Howarth struck for the Smoke Eaters.
Leaves for Armour. Armour looking for a man in front, cutting to the middle. Howarth gets the puck off the turnover and puts it over Berger. It's 2-all.
Just a minute later, the Saints looking to regain the lead, and it would be a speedy winger with skill going outside in to get the Saints the go-ahead goal.
In for Howarth, backhander inside, second opportunity. Berger makes another huge stop. Now Zach Court, one-on-one on the left side. Zins goes inside out on the backhand. He'll score! What moves from Zach Court? Streaking down the left wing, goes inside out on Trevor Zins, makes the move to the backhand and gets it to go down low through the 5-hole of Tanner Marshall. It's 3-2.
The second period would be a bit slower for the scoring, and the Centennials Saints take 3 minor penalties, and it's on the second one that leading goal scorer Cale Howarth able to get on the board for the Smoke Eaters.
Walking in, Howarth, the shot down low, he'll score. Through the wickets of Jacob Berger.
Smoke Eaters with the lone tally in the second period, which means we'd head to the third in another 3-3 tie. Saints got a power play opportunity looking for that go-ahead goal, but they didn't take care of their own end.
The Smoke Eaters get it out. Possible 3-on-2 on the shorthanded. Breakaway inside! And Troy Ring scores for the Smoke Eaters. A short-handed goal, 3-on-2 rush.
The Smoke Eaters would add another just a minute later, and the Saints were pushing once again to get back in the game. With 2:33 to go, they had a power play, and they made things interesting.
Henry Cleghorn inside for Wicks, they'll score! The Saints on the board on the power play. Nick Wicks from Zach Court.
That would make it 5-4, but that would be as close as the Centennials would get, falling 1-2 on the week. In the week ahead, we've got games against the Wenatchee Wild tomorrow night, and then Penticton once again on Friday, followed by a game at home against Powell River on Saturday. This is going to be a key stretch for the Centennials, as these interior division games mean all the more. I hope you can get down to the rink, see it for yourself. If not, listen here. And if you miss a part of the game at the rink or at home while you're listening, you can always catch all the highlights here on Talking Sense, brought to you by DCS Auto on Q101.